Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Bitcoin miners. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so I want to take a quick look first on Robinhood and take a look at some of the options premiums that we would currently be getting. This is for people that are not necessarily looking to trade for the price appreciation. They care more about the income because everybody has their own taste. Just so you know, we do actually have Mara and clsk. We have both miners. But just to give you guys an example, for us, we would start out with a put. Of course, you can do covered calls on this too if that's the position in the wheel that you're in. So you can see the options premiums here are pretty good. So you get roughly about $44 a week. And again, that comes out to $176 a month per contract. And this is basically an $18 strike on the put. Again, if you do a cash secured put, it's going to take double the amount of money that you put in to do it because of margin. That's just the way it works. Whereas the covered call, they only take the actual $18. So for cash secured put, they would actually lock up $3,600 of collateral, and then the covered call would be only $1,800. clsk, so Mara, clsk, and HUD8 are usually the ones that we look at for options premiums. But everybody can, of course, do options on the respective miners if you have them. Of course, when it comes to these miners or to anything you do in options, you always want to make sure that there's some volume in there. So the open interest has to be pretty significant. Okay, it's got to be like at least, I'd say probably at least 3, 4, maybe 500, maybe up into the thousands would be even better. To get that nice juicy premium to make sure that there's plenty of liquidity to get in and out of the position anytime you want to. The volume just simply needs to be there. So this one's still pretty good. I mean, we're looking at roughly about $30 a week, $130 a month. So you can, of course, put on more contracts or less contracts if you want to. That's entirely up to you. Riot's another one that we would look at. This one is actually relatively cheap right now. I'm not sure that the premium is going to be all that great because, again, when the price is lower, the premium tends to be a lot less. But money's money. Some people don't care about that. So let's see here. On the cover call side, we'd be looking at roughly about maybe $26 a week if you're feeling a little bit aggressive. These miners are very volatile, so I'd probably go with this one with the 23 delta, roughly about 17 per week, which comes out to about $70 a month. But that's just me. So on the flip side, you got your puts here. I'd say 35 is probably a little bit high for me. So I'd be looking at this 20 delta, again, 14. It still comes out to $56 a month, and it only costs, $1,800 for the collateral for the cash secured put. But once the shares get assigned, assuming that they do, then it would only be obviously $900. They're not going to deduct $1,800 from your account. Pretty sure about that. And the last one here, of course, is HUD8. We've also had this one in the past, and we did make quite a bit of money on it. Now, this one has had some serious volatility and explosiveness. This is a miner, I believe, that's stationed out of Canada. So it's actually not even a US miner, but in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. If you're focused on income for this, that's in price appreciation, that's what you care about. You don't really care about it being from another country or not. Okay, so you saw it was $40 on the cover call side. On the cash secured put side, I'd probably be still looking at this 14. Depends on whether you want to get assigned or not. If you do want to get assigned, then maybe if you're actually looking to get assigned the shares, but you want them at a discount, maybe a little over a 30 delta to increase your chances of getting assigned. If you do not want to be assigned, then probably lower than a 30 delta, because in this case you would not want to get assigned. You would just want to get the actual income itself, but not actually get the shares. So that's kind of how I would gauge that. So still $56 a month. That's not bad. Okay, so now going over the actual miners. So Mara had a nice big fat green candle breakout from this inverse head and shoulders. You can see here, this is not really a textbook inverse head and shoulders. It's kind of ugly. If you ask me, it's not really obvious, but you can see the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder here. Again, nothing's ever going to be perfect 100% of the time. So once you see these patterns enough, you eventually look at them and say, that's interesting. Okay, that kind of looks like this or that. It becomes pretty obvious pretty quick once you do this long enough. So the target for this is going to be all the way up here at 22 bucks. Again, I mean, Mara's at almost 19. If I actually measure the weekly candle here, you guys can see that the move for 1 week is actually pretty substantial. So it's about 13%. So that's that's a lot. That's not like what we see when this thing actually really starts ripping. You can see this candle right here was 56%. What we're looking for to kind of approach a blow off top is like 50 to 100% moves in a single day. And again, we'll get more into that as we get closer to the peak of these things. But you can see back here 141% in 1 week. This other big green candle right here, we got this one. This one was 58% in a week. Even if I were to go, let's say, this candle right here, it's a little hard to measure, but roughly about 40% in a week. So I'd say once we start getting to kind of anywhere between 40 to 100% candles, that's when we should be like, okay, this thing may be about ready to have a blow off top. It may be smart to consider maybe taking some money off the table just in case. Not financial advice, but anyways, we're about to get the MACD Golden Cross. As you guys can see, last time we got this, Mara was sitting at 10 bucks. It flew all the way up to as high as 31 and 33. You can see this kind of top resistance and the bottom support has been tested over time, so that could also be a target. In terms of the levels here, I'd say the trend line down here, anywhere between this trend line, so roughly about 1350, maybe going all the way up to the EMA somewhere in here, 1750 is going to be a good area. It's part of the reason why I mentioned the whole cash secured put thing. And then, of course, if this, you can see the green candle is within the zone, but it's still resistance. So if it gets above here and retests, then I would say, okay, this zone has flipped. But for now, still resistance. So about 1780 to 20 bucks. 2960 to 33 is going to be the resistance above head. And then if we're looking at a target, like a maximum profitability target here for the miners to top out, probably for Mara, it's probably going to be somewhere around 50. Maybe even, if I'm being generous here and say Mara goes out to January of 2025, maybe somewhere around that $55 area could be a top for Mara. Again, just do understand that this thing can go way higher if it really wants to. It's done it before. The last time it actually went up, we had a similar pattern that it was within here, as you can see, but the price went all the way up to $80. So even that 55 target may be a little bit small, but again, it depends on a variety of factors, like is the RSI overbought? Have we touched the top of this level? What is the timing of the cycle? Are we in November of 2024 or January or March of 2025? Does Bitcoin look like it's going to top out? Is the Fed still cutting? There's a lot of questions that need answered. So that's something to keep in mind. All right. So in terms of potential maximum profitability here, and again, this is based on if we get a pullback, 50%, 146%. And if I'm giving like the maximum move here, probably about a 300% gain. It could do more than that. It could do less than that. We'll just have to see. So Riot, this one we're actually thinking about doing another set of call debit spreads this following week on Riot for the $25 strike price, because again, there is a lot of volume at that 25 strike price, and we could make roughly about a 20x on this if it hits it. Even if it doesn't hit it and it just gets to say 20 or something like that, we're still going to make stupid amounts of money on this position. But just to give you guys an idea of what that would look like. And again, call debit spreads are leveraged plays. So if you don't understand what you're getting into, it may be wisest to just simply not do this. Again, that's not financial advice, but you guys can see going out here to March, 11,000 contracts. And if I were to put on, let's say 200 contracts, $1,000 to get in, cut the potential profit, 20,000 bucks. But even if I go back here to January timeframe and we go, of course, they have higher strike prices here. We go all the way up to the top. You can see at $40, and they're saying basically the options market is saying, hey, we think this is going to go to 40 bucks because you got 58,000 contracts here at $40 by January. That's what they think. So it could even go way past 25. All right. So in terms of zones here, so we got the Golden Cross, got the RSI Golden Cross. It is at support. Okay, it's slowly pushing up out of the EMAs. It's all very bullish. So 7 to 10, 1850 to about 21. Again, we want to see the price get above the EMAs. It's not currently above the EMAs, so maximum move here roughly about 187%. And could Riot go to $40? Absolutely, it could. It did so multiple times in the last cycle. So you see it happened here in November and October of 2021. It happened in July of 2021. It happened also in pretty much anything from January, February to May of 2021, where it actually topped out at about $80. So I would say yes, it can definitely go to $40. I don't see any reason why the options market would be wrong about this. It's just a question of timing. When you're doing something like a call debit spread, you have an expiration date. So the price needs to be at or above the sell call strike price, which is the higher priced strike price, in order to be fully in profit by that expiration date. Okay, so HUD 8 got out of the wedge. Again, the target would basically have been the top of the wedge. We already hit that right here, as you can see back in July, but support still currently sits between 350 to 850. We are above the EMAs. That's bullish. About to get the golden cross on the MACD. In terms of the lowest level, I think this will ever go again, maybe 670 during the entirety of the bull market. That's the lowest it could go. I don't think it's going to happen. Again, going back to that $3 area, I don't see that happening until the next bear market, which again, we believe is going to be in 2026. It's not going to be this year or next year. Okay. So 1770 and 22, roughly about 22 and a quarter up there at that the top of that resistance. So if I measure this from a pullback area, it'd be about 250% gain. How you could choose to play this is you could say, me personally, I don't think that HUD 8 is going to come back down. Okay, I think it's going to keep going up. So what you could do is, if you didn't want to buy the shares here because you think it's too expensive, what you could do instead is you could just go over here and say, well, I think the price is going to keep going up. I don't want to buy shares when they're too expensive off the market. I don't want to get assigned shares when they're too expensive out of the options market. So what I may do is I may come over here and just decide, you know what, I'm just going to do some cash secured puts, roughly about a 20 delta. If it pulls back, then maybe I can get assigned and then do some covered calls on it just as kind of a hedge. Again, if it pulled back to, let's see, where was that strike price? That was at 13. So yeah, there's really nothing below it. But because again, you have to have, this is not NVIDIA. You're not going to get thousands of contracts per strike price. I mean, it's a Bitcoin miner. It's not as popular as something like NVIDIA. But you got to look for the liquidity and the volume there. So this one has 120 contracts. That's okay. So $13 price would be barely below where it is right now. Okay, but the idea here is that it's a 20 delta. So the chances of you getting assigned the shares at that strike price, 20% of the time. Okay, very small. So you could do that just to say, well, screw it. I don't want the shares, but I want the passive income. And that could be a way to do it. Or you could just wait for a pullback. Entirely up to you. So next one here is Cypher. Big fat green candle. We got this pennant pattern or bullish flag, whatever you want to call it. It pretty much has hit the target spot on, which again was about 510. We've been talking about this for a while. So you guys know that we're not full of you-know-what, and that we we actually know what we're talking about here. You can see it actually did hit the target. So MACD's got the green on the histogram. It is turning bullish. Again, personally, I mean, it could just explode straight out of this resistance. Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related things are known for doing this. But I wouldn't buy Cypher right now, me personally, because, again, it's hitting a resistance zone. I would instead be looking at something like Riot. If I was going to buy something right now, I'd buy Riot. Why? Because we're looking for the move to take place. We're not looking to get into the move when it's already taken place, okay? So this has 115% upside, whereas something like Cypher, if it does top out at the top of this resistance, which is possible, it could get rejected here, only about 11% move, okay? So support, 215 to 270, resistance, $5 to about 560, and then of course we have this what is this, $8 at the kind of that swing high there. So again, measured moves here about 162% and 273%. And again, Cypher could just keep on smashing straight up. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. If that's the case, I mean, it's just a missed opportunity. There's no reason, in my opinion, to FOMO into any position. If a position looks like it's a good buy at a support zone, I'd be looking to buy that at that support zone. I would not be looking to chase any of these, because once this bull run gets started, I mean, it gets really, really stupid. And I mean, if you want to be a retail trader, you can. Technically, that's what we are, but we're trying to be more like smart money than dumb money. So 1530 is the all-time high here. For Cypher, it can go much higher than that. So btbt, this thing has absolutely exploded. Nice big fat green candle. My viewpoint here on btbt is pretty much the same as Cypher. So $1.60 to $2 and $4.25 to about $4.90. Then you got 5.25 up there at that swing high. So maximum move here would be about 188 to 218%. If you're a hodler, on the other hand, if you're looking to try to hodl these to the peak, you know, we see this RSI got massively overbought here. That would have been pretty obvious. We didn't see it get that overbought any other time. That would have been pretty obvious to get out, right? But if you're waiting to get like a $30, $40 btbt price and you're just looking to hold this, then you're not really going to care if it's sitting at $4. You're going to see it as cheap. This is more for people that are looking to position trade or just get some options premiums at the right prices or capital gains through swing trading. So BITF, we're stuck in between this triangular pattern here. Again, it's got an apex at some point and make a move that is going to be clearly very soon. How soon exactly, I don't know, but it's not far off. You can see the convergence here takes place right around December. So support $2 to about $2.35, resistance $3 to $3.55. Maximum move here about 85% and 102% to get back up to that. Let's see if we can find it here. What is this level? 390. And then the all-time high up there at $10. Okay, so I'm trying to see what the... We get rid of this. Okay, wait, you know what? Never mind. Let me not do that because I don't know what the heck is going on here. Okay, you know what? I'll fix this when the video is done. I don't know what the hell Trading Views is doing right now. Okay, so iren, this thing is just coming off of support. It is still a good buy in my opinion because we're just getting ready to lift off. Again, if you didn't want to get in right away because you still think it's too high, you could always do cash secured puts. So $6.20 to $8 at support, $13.30 to $18 at resistance. I have not looked at the options market for iren, so I don't know if this is a very popular one for options. You let me know that. So 203% gain, and the all-time high from the previous cycle was about $28. So massive upside here. And the last one that we are betting big on is clsk. So clsk has had a nice big fat green candle. You can see right here. 28% move, that's pretty good. But again, clsk had got beaten into the dust. I mean, this thing was pretty much going extinct. I mean, it's not going to go extinct, but you kind of get my point here. Minus 65% from that swing high. So we're getting the golden cross on the RSI. We're getting about to get the golden cross on the MACD. So support here is, in my opinion, it's going to be this level that we're pretty much currently in right now. So about $12.50 to $14. You could buy, again, as low as $9 if you think it's going to go down there. But this late in the cycle, I'd say probably not. So you got 21 to 24, I'd say about 24.25 above head, and then 36 to about 42.60 above that. So if I measure from current prices, 94%, roughly about 240%. And if it gets to the top of this kind of microphone pattern here, about $56, 355% move. If you do get a pullback into those white line, which again, you might be waiting for a while, you might even be waiting until the next bear market. I can't say for sure, but I suspect that's going to be the case. So 180% move, 385% move, and then roughly about a 526% move respectively. And Of course, these miners could go way higher. I mean, anything could happen. If Trump gets reelected, he said he wants the mining here done in the USA. That could cause these miners to go to hundreds of dollars per share. I wouldn't bet on it personally, but it could happen. It's possible. And you can see in the last cycle that clsk did have an all-time high in the last cycle of about $44. All right, so anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.